What's up, idols? It's Cece Lesson 3. Welcome back to my channel and thank you so much for clicking on this video. For this story time, boy oh boy. Today's story is about a girl who had been living in South Korea for 6 years, and after a series of men cheating on her, gaslighting her, lying to her, ghosting her, she decided she was done and needed to take a break from dating. Then one day something happened and she thought her luck had finally changed, and it turned out to be not so simple. It had a happy ending of sorts, but to get to that ending, there's a very fucked up middle plot point. And she asked to be called Esmeralda because she says she always wished she looked like her. So before we get into this story time, if you guys want to see more content like this, story times from dating in Korea, ones that are too saucy for this platform. Also, if you're curious about what my boyfriend looks like, please check out my Patreon. Initially, my channel was about my story times, my vlogs in Korea, but since last year, you guys have been showing us the lives you've been living, and you've been sending in your own stories, and a lot of them get filed away in a folder in my email that I was just like, oh, save it for a rainy day, because I knew I'd have to censor it pretty heavily to be able to put it on YouTube. So those have been accumulating, and now I have a place to put them, uncensored and raw and graphic, and they're almost always about sleeping together in the bathroom in Gangnam, love motel, DVD bong, hookups, and things like that. The one that I just uploaded on my Patreon today, the headline of the email literally said, "Digmatized in Korea." Here's a clip from that video. I kind of didn't know that was possible, but he owned my body. I was so loud, he knew exactly what he was doing down there. I don't know what was happening. I actually came, but it happened. He digmatized me. I couldn't get enough. Who knew a Korean boy had such a good stroke game? I felt possessed, or like I was in a catatonic state. When he finished, I wanted to go again and again and make it last as long as it could. He went to the kitchen to get me some ice cream during one of our breaks, and we talked. The reason I like this is because when we kissed again, he tasted like chocolate. It felt good cuddling with someone again, especially someone so sweet. So yeah, if y'all want to see that in its entirety, if you want to see more like that, please check me out on Patreon. Join our community there because we are growing so much and I'm so grateful. Right, for this story time, here we go. So like we previously said, Esmeralda was giving up on romance for now, taking a break. Happens all the time. It needs to happen sometimes, right? So she decided to focus on her work in Korea, good relationships with her friends, having a fun time, traveling Korea, just living this new life abroad. But one day while she was out with a group of her girlfriends, one of the girlfriends recognized a guy and he was with a bunch of his guy friends. And yes, he was cute. The girls were all coming from brunch and they were going to walk around, find some shops, do some shopping, window shopping, things like that. The weather was nice.
The splendid weather we are having.
Perhaps go by the river for a stroll. So because one of Esmeralda's friends knew the one guy, the two friend groups basically merged. It's worth noting that all of Esmeralda's friends are Korean or Gyopo. So like they could be ethnically Korean but grew up in Canada or the US or Australia or whatever. She's the only foreigner in her group. And the guy group is all Korean men. So the guy who's a friend of Esmeralda's, he's the only one who speaks really, really good English. And that's how he started to talk to Esmeralda. And she wasn't thinking too much of it. She's like, wow, your English is really good. He's like, oh, thanks. You know, I try to practice as much as I can. Now this guy, for this story, we're going to call him Dungi because he's shit. So after Esmeralda was talking with Dungi for a bit, a lot of the guys, they would kind of gather and laugh, and they don't really speak English that well anyway. They're just boys being boys. So as the groups merge, a lot of Dungi's friends are going with Esmeralda's friends, and she's like the odd one out. So basically Esmeralda's sitting there like... And then after a while, Dungi came to talk to her some more. He asked for her name, he asked how she was liking Korea so far, he asked how long it's been since she's been home, and to her surprise, he asked her if she was single. But Esmeralda could not wait to be like, oh, hell yeah, I'm single. I am not interested in the boys here. This happened to me, the gaslighting, the ghosting, the cheating. Hell no, I'll start dating when I go back home. Like, she could not wait to just tell him how much she was so uninterested in dating. So then Dungi asked her about a specific example, like, what's the worst one? I'm so sorry to hear that, because he wants to be so sympathetic, doesn't he?
Stop the cap. Stop doing that!
So Esmeralda told him about a time she was out for dinner with a guy, and everything was going great. Of course it was. Then a girl came up to her and asked her to go with her to the bathroom. She's like, maybe this girl needs help. Okay, I'll go with her. So that girl said that she was friends with, how do I word this? So basically that girl told her that the guy she was on a date with, his girlfriend was one of her good friends. And you know, that is a little hard to believe so suddenly, right? This strange girl comes up to you. But she had pictures. She went on the girlfriend's Instagram and showed them very recent pictures of them coupled up together and happy. So yeah, he was cheating on his girlfriend. That was like the worst one for her because she liked him so much. He seemed so genuine. And of course, Doongi was shocked and he empathized with her. He's like, I'm so sorry. Not all of us are bad though. That's no reason to give up dating. She's like, yeah, cool, that's sweet, but you're not going to change my mind. Like, nothing against them, but she just wasn't interested in dating in Korea. She'd get back to it when she got back home. So the day went on with the merged group of friends, and after a while, Esmeralda wasn't feeling it. It's been a long day already. She's like, you know what, guys, have fun. I'm gonna go back home now. She definitely felt like the odd one out. After a long day, she got home, she showered, ate, got ready for bed, and relaxed. Now, this was a nice day on the weekend. A few days had gone by through the week, and then she got a message from someone she did not recognize on Kakao. All it said was, hey, how are you? So she's like, I'm good, thanks, but I'm sorry, who's this? He said, oh, I'm sorry, it's Doongi from Saturday. Remember, your friend's friend. I hope it's okay that I messaged you. She gave me your Kakao. So Esmeralda's surprised for a few reasons. One, why did he want her number? And two, why did her friend give him her number? So she's like, that's cool, I guess. What's up? So he's like, yeah, I remember you telling me you were single and you weren't interested in dating, but I'd love to take you out anyway. Just please keep in mind that this guy is fully aware of all the traumatic dating experiences she's had so far and still proceeds to do the fucked up thing that he does to her. So yeah, Esmeralda's like, well, you do remember clearly that I'm not interested in dating. You just said so yourself. So why are you going to ask me on a date? You know my answer is no. He's like, okay, well, why don't we meet as just friends? Now she knew deep down he did not want to be just friends since he immediately asked her about dating. But she decided to meet with him anyway because she figured worst case scenario, he'll ask me out again and I can just tell him no. So until their date/just friends meeting, he texted her a lot, asking her how her day was, asking her if she ate well, asking how she slept, asking if she was cold today, telling her not to be too busy or work too hard, things like that. So she was confused by his motive, but she decided to go along with it and be polite. So Esmeralda decided to ask her friend, the mutual friend, more about him, like what's his deal? But she admitted that she didn't know him that well anymore. She said they went to high school together, but he seems cool, like they still keep in touch briefly. But she's always known him to be a really funny, sweet, caring guy.
Why the fuck you lying? Why you always lying?
And then she's like, so why did you think it was okay to give out my number so easily? And she's like, oh, I'm so sorry. I honestly didn't think you would mind. Because she saw them talking, so she thought they were hitting it off. Still, you should always ask your friend first before you give their number to some guy. But Esmeralda forgave her and said that, you know, okay, fine, but as long as you guys know, I'm not interested in dating. And this friend said that she was hoping that Doongi would change her mind on that. She just wanted someone to make her girl happy. So Esmeralda wanted to keep things light for their first meeting. It is really common in Korea to just meet up. I mean, not even just Korea, everyone. Like, oh, can I take you out for a coffee? You fancy a coffee? People just meet for coffee and tea all the time. So she wanted to keep this very informal, very casual. Let's meet for tea or coffee.
Martha, please let go. Don't you dare!
Normal coffee date. So she had plans to meet at Tom and Tom's. That's a very popular Korean coffee tea chain. So Doongi got there first, and when she got there, he had a slice of cake on the table ready for her, and he said he would have ordered her drink, but he wanted it to be fresh for when she got there. He also didn't want her to think that he might have put something in it. So Esmeralda went up to the counter to order her drink, and before she could pay for it, he was right there and got it for her, had his phone ready to tap. She's like, oh my god, no, you didn't have to do that. He's like, yeah, but I wanted this meeting, so you shouldn't come out of pocket when I'm the one who insisted on meeting you. Then she asked him, oh, so do you normally pay for your friends' meals and drinks? He's like, yes, because I'm a very good friend. And that actually made her laugh. And one thing is, she didn't expect to laugh so much with him. She said it was the first time in a while that she didn't feel anxious or worried about some guy with evil intentions in a while. And she really felt like she was out with a friend. So she actually grew to like spending time with him a lot, and slowly but surely she felt her guard coming down around him. So now about 2 weeks later, after texting a lot and hanging out a few times, she actually started to like Doongi, and that scared her because she knows what usually happens to her. But with the encouragement of her friend, the one that knows him too, and the good vibes she was getting from him, she decided to just go for it. Being a hopeless romantic, let's just see what happens. So one day while they were out walking together, he decided to finally turn to her and ask if they could see each other as more than just friends. So it's been about 2 weeks at this point. A little soon, but you know, you end up finding out that's for a reason later. And before Esmeralda could control the words coming out of her mouth, she said, yeah, we should see each other more seriously. Like, she didn't even realize she said it. It just came out. So Doongi was happy, and he put one arm around her, one arm, and then he took the other hand and like held her hand. Then he asked for a kiss, and she said, baby steps, bro. Like,
It's a little too soon.
he laughed and said, my bad, you're right. I'm just so excited. So yeah, after about 2.5 weeks of talking and dating, they decided to officially pursue something romantic between the two of them. He made a lot of effort to spend time with her and to talk to her. She said there were times where she definitely felt overwhelmed, but there was also a huge part of her that just really liked the attention for once. I mean, he was a really cute guy. He was so nice, so sweet, so funny, and he was interested in her. She was on cloud 9 at this point. They'd hang out with her friends, they'd hang out with his friends, they'd hang out alone, one-on-one, and everything was going so great. So fast forward another few weeks, and things changed on one particular night. It started off with a normal dinner date. Like, it was actually becoming a really common thing for them to meet for dinner. He'd take her out and then they'd catch a movie. But Doongi proposed they do something a little different. He was honest and he wasn't shy about the fact that he wanted to sleep with her. He told her how the last few weeks have been great and he liked spending time with her. But it's hard to hold himself back because he wants to take it another step further. She was caught off guard by this, but it's to be expected. You know, you're dating someone, the topic of sex will come up. So she knew it was going to happen sooner or later, and she actually appreciated his honesty. In her mind, you know, up to this point, he's been so respectful and incredibly attentive, funny, and so nice to her that she wanted to do this with him to show her appreciation for him. So they decided to plan something so that the next time they met up, this is when it's gonna go down. They decided to get a hotel so they could have their own privacy. Her apartment has thin walls and he doesn't live alone. So a hotel was the best place they could meet, somewhere neutral. So now we jump ahead a few days to sex night. Doongi bought her dinner. He took her out for a nice dinner, and she'd already been to the hotel because she dropped off her bag, and that's when they went out after. But when she got back to the room, she saw flowers and wine, so he arranged for that to be brought to the room later. And she couldn't get over how sweet she thought he was. And again, this is YouTube, so I can't go into too much detail, but they did what consenting adults do. She enjoyed it. She had a good night. They did it a few times, and they even ordered dessert from room service in between rounds.
Baby, come through. You deserve rounds tonight. You deserve round. You deserve round tonight. You deserve round tonight.
She said they had a lot of wine. That's probably the most wine she's ever consumed. So far, everything for Esmeralda is absolutely perfect. She didn't believe it was real, and unfortunately, one day she found out it wasn't. So after they did sleep together, the quality of communication from him definitely dropped. They still saw each other often, but not as much as they used to. He also didn't talk to her as much. At first she didn't mind because she does like her space, but the timing of this was very suspicious. Like, oh, as soon as we sleep together, now I don't hear from you as much. And you know, at this point they've been seeing each other for over a month. One day while they were out with his friends, she noticed one of them was looking at her like a lot. Like kind of just staring, but he also looked kind of sad. And we're gonna call him Hyunwoo. Hyunwoo is a real one. Hyunwoo was the hero of this story. His English isn't very good, but a lot of people assume foreigners don't take the effort to speak Korean. Esmeralda's Korean is actually great. Granted, she's probably a little bit shy about it, but she can speak Korean when she needs to. She's been in Korea for 6 years. So Hyunwoo comes over to Esmeralda and he greets her. He's like, hi, you know, we never had a chance to talk before, but do you have social media? She's like, yeah, of course. I'm surprised Doongi hasn't shown you. You guys are friends and we're dating. So then Hyunwoo asks, can I add you? She's like, yeah, sure, like, you're his friend, I'm dating him. Why not? I want to get close with his friends too. But she did wonder why he suddenly wanted to talk to her, and he said he had something important to tell her. But he did so in a way like it was a secret. Like, he didn't say it loud. It's like he didn't want Doongi or anybody else to hear, just Esmeralda. But she's like, what makes you want to talk to me all of a sudden? He was like, you seem like a really kind person. So later that night, she got screenshots sent via social media from Hyunwoo. It was screenshot messages of a Korean conversation. Before she could try to translate and read and dissect what was going on, Hyunwoo then said, I'm so sorry, do you understand these messages? So she took a minute to read them and she got it. She understood exactly what she was reading. So basically, Doongi made a bet with his friends that he could get the foreign girl.
What you say? That you only meant well, 'cause you did.
There was lots of kukukus and kikis, lots of laughing messages, like laughing at her expense. And Doongi said it would be easy. He said a lot of desperate girls are easy. He said they're better in bed because they're eager to please.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
And it wouldn't take much effort. Despite all the effort he definitely put into this. Isn't it frustrating when you see that a guy knows how to be chivalrous and respectful, but chooses not to?
I was rooting for you. We were all rooting for you. How dare you?
So Esmeralda was crying, bawling her eyes out when she saw these messages. She's like, oh my God, this is happening to me again. She's like, why would you go through all of this for just a bet? She wondered how much he won. She wondered if it was even worth it because he spent a lot of money on her. So Hyunwoo explained that he learned about this later because he wasn't in the group chat of all this going down. He was added to the group chat later. You know, one day before they're about to meet up, before Esmeralda talked to him, he's like, oh yeah, so we get to meet your girlfriend, right? And he's like, oh, she's not my girlfriend. So then Doongi's explaining the situation to Hyunwoo, and Hyunwoo's like, wait, what? I thought you liked her. And that's when he showed Hyunwoo all the messages like, oh no, bro, it's just a bet. Don't tell her when we meet. So Esmeralda wanted to tell her friend about it, the friend that vouched for Doongi. But weirdly enough, Esmeralda never heard back from this girl ever again to this day as of writing this email. And she still has no idea why. Like, was she in on it? Did she feel bad about it? We don't fucking know. So then Esmeralda's still trying to understand the situation. Like, what would even make them want to start this bet with me? So because Esmeralda was able to read those emails, I think Hyunwoo got the idea that she could speak Korean, so he finally just let everything come out and explained it vividly in detail. So the way I understand it, the first day you met Doongi and our friends, you were a bit quiet, standoffish, you weren't really talking much, so everyone saw you as like a challenge. She's like, well, yeah, I didn't know them. So yeah, I wasn't talking to them, but I'm not cold and standoffish. And then Doongi told them about the conversation they had and how she's had such a horrible dating history, and he found it funny. And this was apparently the inspo for the bet. Like, oh, she swears she's not dating, but I bet I can make her date me. So Hyunwoo apologized again and said, like, please don't tell him. Please don't tell the guys that I told you, but you seem like a really kind person and I wanted you to know this. That's why when he was staring at her, he's like a pity, like he felt sad for her. So, you know, Esmeralda was a little pissed. She's like, oh, bro, you really care if they find out you told me? Like, they're assholes. But she wanted to respect the fact that somebody finally came to her and told her what was going on. She's like, I don't want you to be in trouble with the homies. Fine, I won't say anything. So instead of confronting Doongi, because it's hard to do that without the evidence presented to her, she decided to just ghost him.
He's a phantom.
So the next day, Doongi texted Esmeralda like, hey, you free tonight? She made a point to open the message and leave it on read. Then over the next few days, he responded like, hey, are you okay? He tried to call her. He said, did something happen? Hey, what's wrong? Are you okay? And after about a week, he finally got it because the very last thing he said to her was, did you find out?
The problem is that I think you're a clown, and I think that your behavior is clown behavior.
So in a sweet twist, Hyunwoo and Esmeralda are actually good friends now. He was trying to comfort her like, look, I know this all started off with a bet, but I think Doongi actually liked you because he took you out a lot. He had this going way longer than he was supposed to. He got you interested in him. That was the whole point of the bet. But y'all slept together. He keeps taking you out to dinner. He's buying you flowers and wine. Like, I think he actually liked you. Not that it mattered, but you could see he was trying to make Esmeralda feel good. So through his effort to try and comfort her, they actually became really good friends. She still hasn't heard back from her friend that encouraged her to date him to begin with. She doesn't know what happened. She says she'll email us if there's any update, but so far it's been all quiet on that front. Esmeralda, I'm so sorry this happened to you. Everyone will find their Prince Charming eventually. It just happens. When you're not looking, that's when it happens. Thank you so much for taking the time to send this email in. I know it probably wasn't that fun to relive and talk about, or you might be over it and it's like therapy to get out there. I know that's how I feel when I relive shitty situations from my past. But at least Hyunwoo was there to show that not every male is a turd, not every guy is bad. There's still hope out there. There's a lot of good ones. We just gotta weed through the fuckboys to find them. She may have lost a friend, but she gained another friend in Hyunwoo, so it all worked out. That girl, I want to know what her deal was. I don't know if she was in on it. Maybe she felt guilty because she found out what happened, but to just ghost like that makes you look guilty, right? If you want to hear more story times like this, please binge the videos that are about to pop up on the end screen. We have so many story times like this on my channel now. Thank you guys so much for watching this. If you did, remember to like, comment, share, and subscribe, and I will see you guys next time. Annyeong!